All right. Okay, so far we have covered the mathematical background for big data, include LU decomposition and Schur decomposition and power method and QR decomposition. And today we will cover the search engine algorithm. Okay. And then we will continue to cover least square solution, pseudo-inverse, and singular value decomposition, and graph and matrices, and principal component analysis, and Monte Carlo tree search algorithms, etc. So we are heading for our subject. Okay. Last week, we have seen this AlphaGo was playing with Isidore. And machine learning of big data was analyzed many times all over the news and web pages. We will get through it, some part of those. Today, we continue to look at the algorithms of Google search engines. Okay. We look over the Google's PageRank algorithms today. Actually, there was a couple of articles were published on the linear algebra behind Google search engines and for the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of the Google matrix. And I also wrote an article for the newsletter of Korean Math Society several years ago, and you can easily find it from the web. Okay. Google matrix and PageRank. This is a trademark of Google. So we introduce a web search algorithm, and we will discover the mathematics behind those search engines. And we will see how the Google matrix can be formed, and the way to find the PageRank from the web resources. Okay. World Wide Web is a huge and heterogeneous playground. Now, web pages, but the web pages are extremely diverse in terms of content and quality and structure. So, it has been a challenge for many to find optimal informal retrieval from the information from the World Wide Web. It includes the academic citations. Okay. Most web pages, link to web pages, there are lots of information on the World Wide Web, and each of the users want to have proper, to use the proper information from these, the sea of the informations. But important thing is most of web pages linked to web page each others, and quality measure of the web page is subject to user. Though importance of a page is a quantity that isn't intuitively possible to capture. So the problem was formed. How can the most relevant page be ranked at the top when you use the search engine? The answer was take advantage of the link structure of the web to produce the ranking of every web page, known as PageRank now. Okay. Here is the history of search engines, like this. Okay. Let's see. This is the history of search engines. In 1990s, I was encountered the Excite for the first time in my case, because I was connected through this web browser at this time, and I used Alta Vista and Yahoo and And then in 1996, the Google comes out. And since then, MSNs and and the Bing was developed and Naver was developed. But I'm also using this Google search engine more than others. And these are the history. And here is an and nowadays these 15 most popular search engines are the March 2016 today are these: Google, Bing, Yahoo, Ask, etc. It covers. These are the things. Okay. Now then, let's take a look. When Google went online in 1996, one thing that set it apart from other search engines was its search result listing always seems to deliver the good stuff up front. In early years, when I do search Venus in Alta Vista or Yahoo, then what I found was lots of the stuff which is related to sex. So when in the elementary school or middle school they used the search engine to generate the information, there was the danger in it. They couldn't use it properly because of this irrelevance. They couldn't find what they wanted to find. So it was a big trouble for many. So many tried to find the proper way to listing the information on the right order for the right person. So with other search engines, you often had to wait through screen after screen of links to irrelevant web pages that just happened to match the search text only. Part of the magic behind Google was its page rank algorithm, which quantitatively rates the importance of each page on the web. This allows Google to rank the pages and thereby represent to the user the more important and typically most relevant and helpful pages first. Now they are those of data has been backed up, so the Google started to use the big data analysis to give more valuable experience for each of the users. Understanding how to calculate page rank is essential for everyone now in this business. Early basis of searching was on page content only. Bonuses for word placement and paying for placement. So paying for placement, then they do rearrange. If you pay, then they put those information up front, and neural language searches, and those are the things like this keyword search. This was typical, like what we did in the library before, just keyword searches. There are, I showed there are many search engines still, and so there was the search engines before the Google, and including the Boolean search engines, like what we did in the library, and or not. So we do search from the keyword or abstract to find the materials. It worked okay when we have limited resources in the library. That's not much, so we could go through the content which is listed. But now we have unlimited the data to be searched, and the list go forever. So we cannot take a look. All the list was found. But anyway, it was early versions of search engine, and then probability search engine was developed. And then it was the meta search engine was developed. And And the vector space model was used widely. In here, term document matrix was formed, and latent semantic indexing was used, and singular value decomposition was used. So this was a typical, it is actually so here, real mathematics was used in this vector space model of search engines. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, here, I may introduce briefly for these vector space models. Suppose we have a document and with those the abstract like this. And we can choose then we can collect the what keyword from those. So when we do vector space search, for example, if we are looking for the document which contains the kid, the keyword kid, or safety on third, or health on fourth, like this. If we are looking for the document which contains these informations together, then we can form a vector from the first and third and fourth. The first and third and fourth, we are looking for the information that have these words, not others, not the kindergarten or not the basic or not first aid. Yeah, we are only looking for the document which contains this. Then this document or this abstract can be formed whether they have this word or not. So if it has a kid and baby and health and something like that, then we can form a matrix, term document matrix from the keyword that has on the titles or abstract, like this. Then multiply this Q transpose to a matrix A. Then we have a vector D. We have a Q vector and A term, the matrix A here. Then Q transpose is turned to be the vector D. Then in the earlier example, then D is like, it can be written as like this. The first entry is 0.3 and second 0.3, and but on fourth it has 0.6 and some are 0 and some are 1. Then here, then we can, is this 1 here? 1.8, 0.3, 0.6. Anyway. Anyway, this first document, this D shows the first document contains the first and third and fourth information more than the earlier ones, like this. So, because as you see, we have a kid, health, and safety are all there. Actually, it should be 1. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so this vector D contains the kind of the rankings of those informations, and which document has more relevance for what we are looking for. We were looking for, and that was a vector space models, and update then search engine has been updated from there. Latent semantic indexing was used to update those algorithms for the real need, and nowadays the non-negative matrix factorization technique was adopted because the lack of semantic interpretation due to the mixed sign in the singular vectors is a major obstacle in using this latent semantic indexing. So to circumvent this problem, the alternative low-rank approximation was developed, and the research is going on recently. But like this, because this LSI used the singular value decomposition on the earlier term document matrices. But this NNF method used to speed up over the obstacles that the singular value approach have had. So now the web search engines usually has these three modules. Like the one is index module, which has all the data to be searched. So the crawlers gathers the information without even sleeping. The computers are working the whole day and whole year to gather the informations to put in these index modules. Then the query model, the keyword search, analyze the query from these index modules. And Naver do this too. But with this, we needed the new and faster search engines for data, which has been getting bigger and bigger in World Wide Web. So many were thinking what will be needed more. So that's why the many mathematicians are getting involved too, to add the functions. And this rank, the study of this the rank modules were the kind of the object to be attacked for many. So index modules are managed by crawling and indexing, and they gather the information and give the indexings all year. Then, if the query is given, then find the data that contains the keyword. That is using the earlier vector space model. But still, giving the ranking, that was the idea of Google, that they found the page rank algorithm to give a proper ranking on the results from this vector space model search. Okay, so Google Matrix was used for computing this page rank. Okay, before we start the Google Matrix and page rank vector, we need some mathematical background. First, the search engines such as Google have to do three basic things. First, crawl the web and locate all web pages with public access. Second, index the data from step 1 so that it can be searched efficiently for relevant keyword or phrase. Third, rate the importance of each page in the database so that when a user does a search and the subject of pages in the database with the desired information has been found, the more important page can be presented first. Okay. Here, the Google focused on this third step, and they found a better way over the earlier trials. The mathematics which was used in this third step was this: positive or non-negative matrices and the vectors. Perron-Frobenius theorems that I mentioned once before, and Markov chains, and population dynamics, and max mean and min max characterizations. Here, I will explain some more on this. Here, this non-negative matrix means if A and B are square and symmetric matrix, if we write A is bigger than or equal to B, then it means A minus B is entry-wise, is positive semi-definite, which means this. I gave a definition of positive definite and positive semi-definite before, so this is the definition. And A minus B element-wise positive, then we write this way. So this can be used in either way here. But non-negative, so we can write A is bigger than 0 matrix, so it can be simply written. Okay. The key is this primitivity and irreducibility. And this is the keyword that we should keep in mind. And what's the relationship between these terminology and the set of informations. The Perron-Frobenius theorem about matrices with non-negative entries was proved for matrices with strictly positive entries by Oskar Perron in 1907 and extended by Frobenius to matrices which have non-negative entries and are irreducible in 1912. Okay, this theorem has many applications. The importance of this theorem for non-negative matrix, when we are dealing with the large matrices which comes from the real life, usually it has some zero entries because it's usually a sparse matrix. There are some known entries here and there, but there are lots of zero entries in there. So the Perron theorem cannot be directly used because we don't have a positive matrix. We usually have non-negative matrix. So since we have a non-negative matrix, we should have a theorem which can be used for non-negative matrix. So we have a matrix with a non-negative entries, but also it should have irreducibility. So if this is matched, then we can use all the theorem that now the Googles are using. So we should know this definition first. A non-negative matrix T is called primitivity if there is a K such that all of the entries of T to the K's power are positive. It is called irreducible if for any ij there exists a K such that T's K power, ij's entry of T's K power is positive. That means all the entries of T's K power is positive. After some power, if you have a matrix, if you have a certain matrix, after certain power, if it's all positive, then it is irreducible. So you can use the Perron-Frobenius theorem, even though it has many zero entries in it. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, yes, question? Okay, yeah, as you asked, and this primitivity and irreducibility is a very close relationship, and eventually they are equivalent in some sense, and also the primitivity has a graph theoretical description as well. So it will be covered as we go. And if T is irreducible, then I plus T is primitive. Mm-hmm. Okay, if T is irreducible, then I plus T is primitive. So we can, if we have one information, then others can be found easily. And the graph theoretical interpretation can be found. Actually, we will cover this when we deal with the graph and matrices later, once again. But I will introduce some keyword, the word now. Directed graph, and which has vertices and node, and then edges with directions. And adjacency matrix from the graph is a set of matrix, is a n by n matrix when n is the number of nodes from the graph. Then ij entry is 1 if there is an edge between two vertices, and otherwise this entry is 0. So we can, if we have a directed graph, we can find the adjacency matrix. And in the graph, we can find the path from our vertices to the other path, and we can also define a length of each path. It can be a short path or a long path from one edge to one vertex to the other vertices. And here, one other important thing is this. The matrix irreducible is if and only if its associated graph is strongly connected. So, if we can show the graph is strongly connected, then we can easily say its adjacency matrix is irreducible. Done. This the meaning of this strongly connected is in graph is this: that for any two vertices vi and vj, there is a path joining vi to vj of some length. In the graph, if we start from one vertex, if you can go to the other, if you start from any vertex, you can reach to any vertex after some steps, then it is called the graph is strongly connected. Then you can say its associated matrix is irreducible. A direct graph is said to be strongly connected if every pair of vertices are reachable from each other, samely. Graph and directed graphs, something like this. If you have a rectangular matrix, we can draw the bipartite graph rows and columns. 1 to 1 does exist. 1, 3, from 1 to 3 does exist. 2, 4, so from 2, 4, 4 does exist. 2, 2 does not exist, so there is no path edge from 2 to, from row 2 to column 2 like this. So we can, from a graph, you can draw the bipartite graph. From the bipartite graph, you can draw the rectangular matrix. Square unsymmetric pattern matrix. Suppose we have a unsymmetric matrix like this, then with the directions 1 to 1, from 1 to 1, and 1 to 2 does exist, 2 to 1 does exist, and 2 to 3 does exist, 3 to 3 does exist, but 3 there's no edge. So the graph model in that case looks like this in the directed graph, okay, with the directions, in the direction. Symmetric pattern matrix like this, then we can, since it's symmetric, we don't need to worry about the directions. So it's a direct 1, 1. If it's 1, 1, 1, 2 exists, then 2, 1 does exist. So both direction like this. So 2, 3 like this. So this symmetric case, we can have undirected graph like this. Actually, also the directed acyclic graph is the directed graph with the acyclic cycle. We call this is a cycle from one to itself. This is in the theory. This is not important because if we subtract the identity matrix from it, then we can easily make all the diagonal entries are 0. Okay, so if we make a diagonal matrix, then we can always make a diagonal entries are 0. So we can delete this cycle of length 1. So we can simplify the matrix without a simple cycle of length 1. So we usually study direct acyclic graph to the research and use this fact for real problems. So a direct graph with no loop, self-loop. That's this and this. Okay. So with these terminologies, we can develop the theory which can be used in your problems. Okay, reducible matrix. An n by n square matrix is reducible if there exists an n by n permutation matrix P such that PAP transpose is like this. It's a block upper triangular matrix. Here, this is R by R submatrix, and this is a zero matrix, and this is n minus R by n minus R submatrix like this. And irreducible matrix, there is no such permutation matrix. If there is no permutation matrix, then makes this upper triangular block upper triangular matrix, then we call it is irreducible. Okay. An n by n square matrix is irreducible if and only if its directed graph is strongly connected. Irreducible if and only if direct graph is strongly connected. Another definition, fully indecomposable matrix. There is no permutation matrix P and Q such that PAQ is an upper triangular matrix with the same condition on the blocks and their size as above. Then we call this matrix A is fully indecomposable. It cannot be decomposed. Okay, if there is no P and Q. Here's the theorem. If n by n square matrix A is fully indecomposable, if and only if for some permutation matrix P, the matrix PA is irreducible and has a zero free main diagonal. This is the theorem that we can use for the fully indecomposable matrices. Okay. So, now we defined the reducible matrix and irreducible matrix, and we show the relationship between irreducibility and primitivity and strongly connected and etc. Okay, here is the Frobenius theorem. T has a positive real eigenvalue such that the absolute value of the all eigenvalue is less than equal to this maximum eigenvalue. Further, this largest eigenvalue has algebraic and geometric multiplicity only 1. there is one single largest eigenvalue, which is positive, has an eigenvector x which is positive. All the entries in the eigenvector corresponding to the largest eigenvalue is positive. It's also a very important property. Any non-negative eigenvector is a multiple of x. If it is primitive, then all other eigenvalues satisfies this. This is strictly. If it is primitive, there is only one single largest positive eigenvalue. Okay? If A is a positive matrix, if all the entries are positive, with the maximum eigenvalue is equal to just 1, real number 1, then all other eigenvalues of A satisfies absolute value of lambda is less than 1. Okay. This can be, if this can be a real number, the complex number, complex eigenvalue, still the modulus is less than 1. So it's in the unit ball. Perron probability theorem for non-negative matrix. Suppose A is an n by n R real matrix and A is non-negative, then there is an eigenvalue, largest eigenvalue, Perron Frobenius eigenvalue of A, that is real, non-negative with associated non-negative left and right eigenvectors. Now we are talking about the non-negative matrix, before was positive. For any other eigenvalue lambda of A, this is the Perron Frobenius eigenvalue is the largest. This is called the Perron Frobenius eigenvalue of A, or Perron value, just simply. The associated non-negative eigenvectors, left and right, are called Perron Frobenius eigenvectors, or just Perron vectors. In this case, they need not be unique or positive, because we have a non-negative matrix here. So if all eigenvalues are 0, then eigenvalue should be 0. So entries are 0. So it can be non-negative. So it need not be positive. Non-negative matrix T is called primitive if there exists K such that all the entries of TK are positive. Yeah, I mentioned it before. The resolvent matrix. Suppose A is non-negative with Perron value lambda PF, then lambda I minus A inverse exists and is non-negative. If and only if this lambda is greater than this Perron value. Okay. For any square matrix, a power series expansion, this is called the resolvent matrix, can be defined in this way, as a matrix function, like this. This converges provided if absolute of this lambda is larger than all eigenvalues of A, if lambda is greater than Perron value. This shows this is non-negative to show converge. If it's non-negative, then it converges. Suppose this exists non-negative, then this V be a Perron vector of A. Then we have this eigenvalue eigenvector relationship like this. Okay. Anyway, this is the extra information for the resolvent matrix. It's application after we got the Perron Frobenius theorem. So we will see this matrix soon. Here is the life of Google query. If Google user made a query to Google Web Server, then they found those information from this database, and then the query travels the dark server and actually retrieved from the stored document snip and generate each search result. Then it turned out in a short time and shows it. In that, this is the things. In here, the magic is the page rank definition to give the order. Page rank is a method for computing a ranking for every web page based on the page at the graph of the web. The page rank has a high rank if it is important. Okay, so this assumption is made. A page is important if important page refers that page. Then page rank is a link analysis algorithm that assigns a numerical weight that represents how important a page is on the web. That's the way. This can be analyzed that with the assumption that the web page is is fair and democratic. So this linking is made by page bot for page. So Google interprets a link from a page to the different page B as a bot, okay, and count those bots to give the linking. So it also analyzed the page that cast the bot. Then why Google was better than the others? So before, no one exploited the link structure of the internet. Actually, no one can know every link structure on the internet. But they found the relatively easy way to exploit the content-based engine with the concealed text and adaptable adaptable to this the world of growing internet resources. And they made simpler and faster algorithms. That was it. So the answer was PageRank algorithm. It relies on the uniquely democratic nature of the web by using its best link structure as an indicator of an individual page value. So actually, Google interprets the link from page to page as a bot, and Google looks at considerably more than the sheer volume of bots or links a page receives. For example, it also analyzed the page that casts the bot. Okay, so to understand what the method they used, we need the mathematical terminology for non-negative matrices. First, low stochastic matrix. This then means it's a matrix whose low sums are all 1. Low sums are addition of the rows, the entries are 1. Then we call it low stochastic. If each column sums are 1, then it's called column stochastic matrix. We know the eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Dominant eigenvalue and corresponding eigenvector, which is called the Perron value or Perron vector. This is the one that I mentioned, the Perron-Frobenius eigenvalue, which is the largest eigenvalue, real largest non-negative eigenvalue for non-negative matrices. It's called the Perron value, and its corresponding eigenvector is called the Perron vector. And for finding this dominant eigenvalue, we did use the power method. This is a Google matrix. And I will introduce how we build up this matrix to find the eigenvalue and eigenvectors of this. And here, we did use this, because when eigenvalue is 1, then the eigenvalue is 1, then this is the relationship for the left eigenvalue and left eigenvector. This pi can be a left eigenvector. So, and this is one norm for vector, which is just the addition of the absolute value of each entries of a vector. So Google matrix is this, and this pi is the one that we are looking for, the corresponding to the largest eigenvalue, which is 1 from here. And this is the matrix norm that we will see later. That now we did use a 1 vector norm, which is this p is equal to 1, so it's the absolute value. Anyway, with this background, from the web world, we can find the adjacency matrix from this web relationship. We can have a 0-1 matrix. We can divide each rows to make this row sums are 1. Okay, we call this a hyperlink matrix, which is this from A. Let's say H. This is a hyperlink matrix. From this matrix, we make a low stochastic matrix S. Like this. How? If we have a 0 rows like this, then we can just add n over 1 all over here. Since this is a 7 by 7 matrix, so 1 over 7 on the 0 rows here. Then we have this matrix. Then this is the row sums are all 1s, so it's a low stochastic matrix. So we can use, and it is a non-negative matrix. So we can use a Perron-Frobenius theorem on this matrix. Okay, this is a low stochastic matrix, but it's not primitive yet. It's not primitive, so we still need some more. Okay, this A can be found by just 1 over n here. So if it's 0, then we give the ones, and if not, then just leave it there as 0. So anyway, these A are used to form the ones here, and leave anything else, leave others as it is. Then this matrix is a stochastic matrix. And Brin and Page replace this S by this matrix. Then this matrix is going to be a stochastic matrix where J, and this J matrix is just all entries are all 1. So 1 over n like this. And alpha is in between 0 and 1. This is a real number. They choose this alpha as a 0.85 in their own region. That will be explained. Then this G matrix is not only stochastic, but also primitive, irreducible, and strongly connected. This is turned out to be a matrix which has nice properties already, so that we can use it. See the hyperlink matrix from the information. If this is an example with the 4 node with this relationship, then hyperlink matrix can be made like this, and then this dangling node can be added by 1 over 4 are added on here too, and D can be found this, and so our matrix S can be found in this way. This is just simple. Same thing with adding this n over n of 1 over n on the 0 row. Okay, then S matrix is like this. This is a row stochastic matrix. And then we count for a fact that a surfer can type on URLs instead of using links. So yeah, and 1 over n is like this. So G and the G matrix can be found from S by adding alpha, multiplying alpha to adding this matrix with this J matrix in it here. Then this G matrix, the S was a hyperlink matrix plus the W, and alpha is a damping factor. Then G matrix was made like this. This is the definition of Google matrix. This is a way to develop the Google matrix. Then solution of this Google matrix. Since the Google matrix is row stochastic, it has an eigenvalue of lambda is equal to 1. Since it's a stochastic, non-negative stochastic matrix, its largest eigenvalue is 1. Lambda 1 is the largest, biggest, and it's a simple eigenvalue. There is algebraic multiplicity is only 1. And the pi is the corresponding eigenvector. The eigensystem, this has a unique solution for pi. And this pi is called the low probability vector. Then this pi contains every page links, every information, every page length information. Okay. How do we find this pi? This from here, and this is a way of the computing it. And lambda equal 1 is the dominant eigenvalue of G, and pi is the dominant left eigenvector. The power method was used to find this pi. Okay, that we covered easily. And since Google matrix like this is a primitive matrix, there is a Perron value and the Perron vector which is positive, and such that it satisfies pi. And then the power method gives us this the largest eigen, the Perron vector. And now we can think about analysis of convergence. And this was introduced by in 2003 by Langevin and Mayer, and say when Larry Page and Sergey Brin set m is equal to 0.85, most of case the iteration was ended in between 50 to 100. So and the reason that they choose this alpha as 0.85 was introduced in the paper by Langevin and Mayer in 2005. Okay, and the convergence analysis was carefully written in my article in the newspaper of Korean Math Society here, and you can find the explanation of this convergence analysis in these YouTube lectures. And Google search engine now to find the page length information in less than 1 second for most of the cases. This is better than any other search engine so far. That's why they are powerful. Google matrix and page length is like this. just I practiced let alpha is equal 0.9. Then in this case, I had this matrix, Google matrix, and I found the eigenvalues and eigenvectors, which gives a ranking like this. So we can really practice it, and it can be done without much difficulties for this Google matrix because it is a primitive matrix and strongly connected. Then prim factors. So this is the kind of analysis which I found from this paper, and that you can find also too. Okay, the value, yeah, they found this value, and in that case we could use it. So I practiced it several times to see the rankings. Anyway, it's time to close, so I will finalize. The Google recognized the need for the new kind of search tool, so that responds the fast response time and greater scalability and low cost. And they use more than 200 signals, including PageRank algorithm. That's not, so PageRank algorithm is not the only one model I want to be used to improve it. Google, after this, then Google then perform hypertext matchings. And so the page ranking is still only a portion of what determines the order of search result in Google search. And the results are based on many factors, especially information from the page content. Page ranking is a global ranking of all web pages based on their location in the web graph structures. And page ranking uses information which is external to the web pages. The backlinks from important pages are more significant than backlinks from average pages. That was their ideas. And we also worked some new works by adapting the technology which was used in the naval search engines. And these are the references. And this is nowadays this is the what market share of Google. And this is a search engine market share in Korea. Still, Naver is bigger than the Google's in Korea. So actually, we developed a new search engine which has advantage of this, both of those. And one of my students gave a presentation of it at the Korean Math Society meeting, and he was just hired after that meeting by Naver that time. I think time's up, so I will conclude. Any questions? Yeah, we will continue the singular value decomposition next time.